I've been reading these stories about Gibson Guitar, which is really a national treasure, and how they are really under assault by the federal government, and specifically, I think, the Interior Department, the Fish and Wildlife Service. So it's an honor to have the CEO of the company here, Henry Juskowitz. How are you, sir?
Very well. How are you?
Very well. Tell us from the beginning what's going on here.
Well, we were working, and it was a normal day on Wednesday when, more than 20 armed federal officers descended on 3 of our factories and our corporate offices. They went in, at gunpoint, shut our facilities down, and evacuated all the employees, made them stand out on the street and in the parking lot and so forth, and started pouring through the factory. They confiscated a good deal of wood material. They confiscated paperwork and computer hard drives, and generally had the whole place shut down for a day.
Well, did they show you a warrant? Did they just barge in? And what was their claim?
They showed us a warrant that basically said they have the right to search for about 30 different items that were very general. Essentially, they could, search for and grab anything. When I asked what warrant was for, they said that is, sealed, and we're not going to tell you. And so it was only after we went public about the situation, a couple of days later, the affidavit that was the basis of the warrant was, in fact, revealed.
And what is in that affidavit, generally speaking?
Their contention is that the wood that we imported from India, which is rosewood and ebony, is illegal to export from India.
Wait a minute. It's illegal to export from India, so this would be an Indian law?
They are, in fact, enforcing an Indian law.
Is it illegal to import it?
It is illegal to import it only because it's illegal to export it. In other words, there's a law called the Lacey Act that 2 years ago was modified to include wood, and that Lacey Act says that you must, in fact, obey the laws of every country from which you source product. So if you break the law in, Tanzania, then you're also breaking the Lacey Act law in the United States as a result.
So you have to know the laws of every third world backwoods hellhole?
You have to know all the laws, yes. And, the interesting thing is we have, in fact, we are complying with the law originally, we had another raid that was the issue was wood from Madagascar. We, in fact, comply with Madagascar law. We have affidavits from the government in Madagascar that we are complying with the law. And the Justice Department is saying, no, we interpret your law differently than you do, and therefore, no, they're not, and which is pretty ironic.
So the Justice Department is saying that the country from which this wood comes and passed the law and is interpreting the law and allowing you to have this wood from Madagascar, that the Justice Department has said, well, we're interpreting it differently, and therefore you're in violation of their law?
Right.
And by implication, the Lacey Act?
Correct.
And this Indian wood, what do they say in India?
The Indians we have letters certifying that this wood was legally exported by very high-level, Indian government authorities, We also had the word certified by the Forest Stewardship Council, which is an independent third party which certifies sort of that it is good wood environmentally and otherwise. So that, we have a bunch of paperwork that told us that this was great wood and it was appropriately exported. And finally, we've been buying the same wood for well over 17 years. This is something we do on a regular basis. It's an intimate part of our business. It's not some secret, backroom deal. And so we've been doing business for many, many years. And now, all of a sudden, it's illegal, which we believe is not accurate.
Well, all of a sudden. So would you say in the last 2 years?
Well, it's really in the last, 2 weeks. Because that's the first we've known that there was any issue with Indian.
Well, who is spearheading this? The Interior Department or the Justice Department? Do you know?
The Justice Department has launched an investigation, and that investigation started in 2009 and continues. And all of this is part of this investigation, as I'm aware of.
And what role, if any, has the Fish and Wildlife Service played over at the Interior Department?
The Fish and Wildlife Service are the agent that are executing sort of the Justice Department's. They're the arms and legs of the Justice Department in this case. They're the armed agents that have come in with weapons. They are, in fact, doing a lot of the actual work other than being the lawyer, if you will.
Which office at the Justice Department is involved? Do you know, the Environmental Office?
It is the Office of Environmental Crimes.
Mm-hmm. This is amazing to me, and it suggests to me, I was a chief of staff over there many years ago at the Justice Department, and you can have a change of an assistant attorney general, and then they change the emphasis of what they do. And they may not care, sir, what these foreign governments say. They may have their own agenda that they're trying to press here, which is sort of an extremist environmental agenda, even though it's not one that is respecting of the law, if you see what I'm saying. So what do you do now while they have decided they're going to investigate?
Well, we really have no, that's a problem for us. In the original seizure of goods from 2009, we are allowed to litigate and get the return of those goods. So now we are in federal court in Nashville suing to get our goods back because we have proof that the goods were obtained legally from Madagascar, and it's winding its way through that process. The government has actually petitioned the court to stay those proceedings, even though we've been litigating for almost a year plus, because the court process might interfere with this investigation. So we can't even get our day in court, and the one issue where we felt we had the ability to go to sort of judicial arbitration. And so what do you do when you're under investigation and no charges have been filed? You can't do anything, really. And so, one, we're looking for avenues of where we can litigate and get judicial overview and petition our side of the situation. And secondly, we've gone very public and vocal and given transparency to this issue, and hoping that the public supports us and can put pressure on the government, to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and obviously this is very detrimental to your business, isn't it?
It's been enormously detrimental, and it puts us at risk. There have been two, armed attacks, raids on our facilities. And who knows, if there's going to be another one, if they're going to take exception to another country's product. They have, in their letter, said that the use of any wood from India is illegal, and every single item that we touch with Indian rosewood or ebony is an individual criminal offense. Well, that could virtually shut our business down for a long time, because it was a large part of the product that we use to manufacture guitars.
Mm-hmm. So you have very good lawyers, I take it?
I hope so. We have very expensive lawyers, and I think they're very competent.
Yeah, because I'm thinking out loud here what to file, what kind of motion to file to compel some kind of action. Because did the court uphold their motion for a stay in your Madagascar case?
No, it's still being heard. So that is still outstanding.
Well, it would seem to me that you're arguing over one product from one country in the one case and another product or other products from another country in the other case. Why would one relate to the other? Which I guess is your point.
And the fact is we're being singled out. Virtually every one of our competitors is using the same material, same sources from India, from Madagascar, and there's been no action. We are the only company that's been targeted.
Now, why do you think they're doing that?
I don't know.
Are you a Republican, sir?
I have supported Republican politicians, but I've also supported, Democratic politicians. I'm not.
Are you union or non-union?
We are non-union.
Are your competitors union or non-union?
Some of them are union.
Mm-hmm. Well, if people want to read whatever public filings there are, is there a place they can go to see them other than the courthouse?
Not that I know of at this point in time.
Okay. You might want to consider, even though this is a little bit out of left field, but that's the way I litigate sometimes, a writ of mandamus to compel these officials to explain exactly what it is that you have violated. You're more than the Lacey Act. We're talking about, given the paperwork and the evidence that they have, the information they have, what exactly it is that they're pursuing, and also how it is that other businesses that produce guitars and are using similar woods are not being charged or not being investigated. At least think about that. Writ of mandamus.
Okay. I'll talk to our attorney about it.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm really sick and tired of this. The way, you're not a massive company, but for crying out loud, you're like one of the iconic companies in this country. And it just is appalling to me that this is going on. And we wish you all the best. We may check in with you again. Is that all right?
Thank you very much for spending time with us. It was certainly all right, and I would love to talk to you.
Do you have a company website? What is your company website?
It is www.gibson.com.
All right, sir. Well, thank you, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much. You have a great night.
All right, you too. Jeez.